Hey there, Ryan Reynolds here. It's a new year, and you know what that means. No, not the diet. Resolutions. A way for us all to try and do a little bit better than we did last year. And my resolution, unlike big wireless, is to not be a raging and raise the price of wireless on you every chance I get. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited. See mintmobile.com for details.
It's Giles from 101 Part-Time Jobs. We just landed in Manchester for the Independent Venue Week tour in collaboration with Beavertown. We're outside the Night and Day Café right now. Opus Kink are headlining, Slow Country and the great Unwashed are supporting. And what we want to know is why it's so important, why independent venues and small, medium-sized gigs are such a vital part of music in Britain. We want to get some stories, get some experiences. We're looking forward to it. Let's go. Okay, so we are outside Night and Day Cafe in Manchester, and just as we rolled up, you rolled up at the same time, Sharon.
I did, yeah.
And you said you were coming here for Opus Kink, and you said you've seen them before.
I have, yes.
What's your background seeing Opus Kink?
Oh God, I've been seeing Opus Kink for about 2 years or so since it kind of started, because they're the friends of mine who run a promotions company called Twisted Nipple Events.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, Jack and Lucia. They're actually running a Femme Fest on Sunday at Philadelphia.
Okay.
Which is for femmes, like the queer community and all this sort of stuff. So.
And you said you travel around the country quite a lot going to gigs.
I do, yes, yeah.
So Independent Venue Week, this is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
What are your favourite venues around the country?
I really like Broodinell. I love Yes.
Yeah.
I was in Yes on Saturday watching Goers.
Yes.
Love that place. Yeah.
And what's the feeling that you get from it? Because I wonder, speaking for myself, like at some point in my late 20s, early 30s, I thought, like, why do I love this so much? Why do I dedicate so much of my time to it? And I think it sometimes takes a little bit of time to realise why you do it. Why do you think you do it? Where do you think the joy of it comes from?
I think coming out and singing live music is actually good for your mental health. If you're not feeling great, then just get out and go to a gig.
Yeah,
Totally.
And where do you find out about gigs? How do you know which ones you traipse across the country to go to?
I usually either find out off social media, either Facebook or Instagram, or I just troll through the ticket sites really and think, right, I'll see that band, are they touring, are they doing this, are they, so, yeah.
And what is it about it that makes you feel something? Is it like, when it's so loud, and it like, if you feel it punching you in your gut, like what are the feelings that give you so much of a thrill about going to shows in these venues?
I think it's just absolute euphoria really, because it's like, you're in the moment, you're with the band, you're listening to the music, and it's like nothing else matters. Yeah. There could be a nuclear war going on outside, but if the band's playing, I'm listening.
Yeah. And have you made some friends going to shows?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
You chat to someone at the bar, you say hi?
Always, yeah.
I think a lot of people do come to these shows alone and end up, not so alone.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. Jack and Lucia are coming along tonight, so yeah. they'll be here and...
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And what shows have you got looking forward to coming up in the next couple of weeks? Just the last question.
Right, I've got Keg tomorrow night at Sydney and Matildas.
Yeah.
And then Hallamshire Hotel for a band called Humour.
All right.
Then the Old Blue Last on Saturday for Humour.
So that's all this week?
Yeah, that's this week. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I'm about 15 gigs in right now, so...
Of the year?
Yeah.
But how do you keep it all together? You got a diary? How do you?
Oh yeah, I have a book that I write all my gigs in, and I managed to do 194 last year.
194 gigs.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good at maths, but that's definitely over 1 in 3. 1 in 3 days you went to a gig.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
There must have been a few bands that like really stood out and above the rest.
Opus Kink, Goers, definitely. And Goers are playing on the 5th of April in the Polar Bear in Hull. Yeah, I'm really liking them. I'm just into the Irish bands at the minute because we've got Murder Capital, Chalk.
Yeah.
There's another band called A Really Good Time. And then my friend's band in Ireland called Irritate Yates. That's he'll be doing some gigs soon, or he better be when I message him. But yeah.
Well, you're a wealth of knowledge, Sharon. Thank you very much for chatting with us, Sharon.
Hey, no problem, and thank you.
So we arrived at the show a couple of hours ago before doors opened, and some of the first people we met was Mia and Steph, and you're volunteering tonight at the 9-Day Café for Independent Venue Week. Can you just tell me, like, how did you get involved, and what was your sort of train of thought when reaching out to Independent Venue Week?
So I think the ad was posted on social media. That's how I kind of saw it. I've always been passionate about live music and independent venues, really. We were talking before about how Night and Day's probably our favourite, or my favourite venue in Manchester, along with a lot of other places like Star and Garter, Deaf Institute as well. So
quality.
I'm familiar with all the venues, and it's nice to be able to help out doing anything we can, really. It's such a friendly space. Everyone bumped into has been pretty friendly, including yourselves. So it's a really nice atmosphere, and it's great to be able to help out in any way possible.
And Mia, you said you're from Dudley, and you don't really have like any venues in Dudley.
It's just a small town, so the nearest like gigs is Birmingham, and it's just like a while to get there. Or sometimes Wolverhampton, but there's not much of a scene that's big enough for gigs like this. So to be in a city for university, I thought I might as well help out.
Yeah, it's such a touch living down the road from a venue that puts on gigs you want to go to. Like, that's a dream for, like, most people don't grow up in an area where it's like, oh, I can go to a gig tonight. So you become a bit of an adult, go to college or whatever, you can move out, hopefully. And you're like, okay, well, now I can do all this cool shit.
Manchester was my way of doing that 100%. Again, we were speaking before about you're at uni, aren't you, doing events management, is it? I did a similar thing, but really the reason I did it was to move to Manchester. I'm from Warrington originally, so there's not as much going on there, so to speak. So
get a job or go to college and be like, I just really want to educate myself. I really want to work that job. No, you just want to go to the gigs.
Absolutely.
I love that way of thinking of like, I want to be involved, so I'm going to reach out, and you go and fucking do it.
I've always done it, yeah. I've been going to gigs alone for a long time as well. Being involved and interested in like music scenes where none of my friends have been, so I ended up going out quite before I was able to drink even. 17, getting the train up to Manchester to go to Star and Garter and Night and Day and all these places. So with that comes, I think, that kind of networking and socialising with people you wouldn't normally speak to, people who are coming to the gigs, people who work at the gigs. I think it's something I've always been drawn to, whether that be fueled by maybe too many pints.
It's magic is what it is.
It is, but I don't drink now, so I've no excuse for that. But it's nice to do it sober too.
Brilliant. Who are you looking forward to seeing? What's the next gig ticket you have?
I've got a gig in Liverpool. It's Napalm Death.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Napalm Death, Crowbar, and Full of Hell.
That's it. Full of Hell.
Lots of very loud, noisy metal bands. I saw Full of Hell about 10 years ago at the Ruby Lounge. Rest in peace, the Ruby Lounge. And it was one of the loudest gigs I ever went to. But I think the last gig I was at was a band called Sextile at Soup Kitchen round the corner from here. Nice dingy basement.
There's enough gigs then, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks, Mia.
Thank you very much.
Right, where's... Oh, Ruben! Ruben! Ruby! So we're here at Independent Venue Week in collaboration with Beavertown in Manchester at Night and Day Café. We saw the great Unwashed open tonight's show.
Did indeed.
Great sound.
Yeah, well, I'm George, and this is...
I'm Ruben.
And we are from the Great Unwashed, 2 out of the 6 members.
What's it like opening a show? I mean, it's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking.
Telling me, man. Yeah, I was tweaking hard at the start. Very nervous, but it's an amazing opportunity and experience, I would say.
This is definitely the biggest audience we've played for, despite the fact it was an opening show. So this is like a big thing for us.
Yeah,
this
quality.
is huge. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing when you think, like, when you first have a couple of band practices, you're like, wouldn't it be amazing to have another band practice and then 5 band practices and then play a gig and then a gig that's sold out. These are all like amazing achievements, really.
100%. I mean, before we got on stage and while we were loading everything in, we were talking about, you know, we've only been as a band for about a year, which is mental. And we were playing at the Eagle Inn in Salford about a year ago for our first ever gig. And then our second gig is less than a year ago, and we're playing a sold out show at Night and Day, which is an honour, man. It's so cool.
Real.
It's wicked.
Did you come to these kinds of places in your own time with each other?
We frequent the Night and Day Cafe. We go on our Northern Quarter dates and pick record shopping and have a little cigarette and a coffee outside the Night and Day. So this is the spot for
this. Is it, man.
How do you capture that feeling? How do you describe that feeling of coming to somewhere like this, where it's independent music, it's independent like retail or like bars or like nightlife, if you like? What's the feeling inside of you when you have that?
I don't know. I mean, I think that you're going to be guaranteed a good night, and whether the music isn't really your thing, witnessing it live and knowing that at a venue like Night and Day as well, they won't put on any old banging band, you know, like it'll be
dressed as lamb.
Exactly, yeah. So I mean, you're always sort of rest assured you're always going to have a good night, and you're going to discover new music, and you know, the bands you see here could be God knows where in the next few years. It's wicked. It's
have you made friendships here?
Tonight or
tonight.
Yeah, I mean we met the other bands. They all seem really nice people. They're making some cool stuff, and it's always nice to play on those sort of bills. I definitely enjoyed it. Did you?
Oh yeah, I loved it. And we met the photographer as well. Yeah. Very charismatic. He's lovely though. Very nice.
He sort of picked out a couple bands that he thought inspired us, and I was very moved because it was kind of like spot on my like influences, like Smog and like Sigur Rós and that kind of thing, and like that was very much appreciated. That was a lovely fella, lovely guy.
Yeah, it was really nice. But I'm still yet to talk to Opus Kink properly. I will in time, but we'll get there.
Why do you think people should care about these kinds of venues and these kinds of shows or this kind of music?
I think in this day and age of, you know, streaming and ticket sales being incredibly high, coming to a local venue where it's a fixed price, usually between like a place like this, like 8 to 12 quid, you know, that's not a lot of money to go and see a night of really good quality music. Especially like we're students ourselves, we don't have a lot of money a lot of the time. So like wanting to get tickets for like an arena show is going to be out of the question. It's going to be so much money. But somewhere like this, where it's consistently good nights on at a good price, where we can come and see it and get into new music, it's amazing. It's essential.
It's a perfect routine to do that a couple of times a week, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
What are some of your favourite local shows that you've seen? In venues like Night and Day, similar kind of size, independent venues. What are some of the artists or bands that you thought, I won't forget that anytime soon?
I don't know whether or not I should say this, because I have been depping for them recently, but before that I saw them. There's a band called Hollyhead who are local, and I thought they were really great, and I'm honoured to dep for them now. But that would have been my like main answer, just because I thought they're really cool. They're doing stuff now, doing a little tour, so that should be great. That's probably my
I recently got to go and see Candlemice. They were phenomenal. They're really good. Yeah, they're supporting us here. We've got a headline gig. I don't want to plug it, but we've got a headline gig.
Plug it. No one else is going to do it for you.
Headline gig, 4th of March, Night and Day Café. But yeah, I got to see Candlemice. I've seen them twice. I saw them at Eagle Inn more recently, but then prior to that I saw them over in Preston at this venue called The Ferret. They're a really like small, I think 5 or 6 piece band, like kind of acoustic based, but just amazing songwriting. It's just so good. And then like I know we tend to see a lot of our friends as well, because they're all musicians, like Chloe Velez, which is the big one over at Salford. Oh yeah, he plays in that band as well. But I think I'd say the one we've visited most frequently would be Eagle Inn. I'd say just 'cause it's closest to where we live, like over in Salford Way. But
do some great sort of singer-songwriter folky nights, which is definitely a big corner of our listening that we enjoy, and that's a really good place to showcase new songwriters. And
exactly. And I think that I know it's not like to do with paid gigs, but open mic nights around here. I've been at Whiskey Jar so often recently, and it's beautiful. It's such like a nice tight knit community of everyone knows each other. Everyone's a regular, and they're all. It's a nice place where people can go down and witness or play for free to express themselves, and I don't know.
It often strikes me in these kinds of places, you're like, this is subculture.
Yeah.
You know, people in here, they couldn't do it anywhere else. To have somewhere where you can make music and be vulnerable is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's
in this day and age, it's kind of crazy to think this stuff can still exist, and it's great that it still does. These sort of independent venues are like the backbone of like good new music, and we're kind of lucky to still have that, and we should keep that going and support it, I would say, personally.
Yeah, that's sick. Talk about it with each other and your friends.
Oh, real? Yeah.
Nice on Ruben and George. Thank you very much. The great Unwashed.
Love it to me. Thank you.
Love it to me.
We're here in Manchester at Night and Day Café for Independent Venue Week in collaboration with Beavertown, and we bumped into Harry and Joe from Maruja. This is your night off. I've roped you into doing some work-related tasks on your night off.
Good. Every day's a work day.
So we're here because we're stoked on independent music. You know, independent venues, for so many people, it's like your livelihood. You know, whether you're working behind the bar, whether you're playing on stage, or whether it's like keeping you sane after the working week. What are your favourite venues in Manchester? Obviously, we're at Night and Day now. Has this place got some good memories for you?
Some hazy memories, maybe. Yeah, no, this place has been a stronghold of Manchester for many years. This street used to have loads of venues, dry bar, and this place has managed to stay open, which is amazing. But yeah, I mean, it's a great place to come and to kind of stay connected to the roots and to the grassroots level. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. If you could sum it up, and I know it's probably hard because a lot of this stuff we internalise, and we probably don't talk about it much that often, but what do these places mean to you? How do you sort of put it into words?
I think like nowadays, what everyone's sort of striving for, what we feel like everyone's striving for, certainly within like our loved ones, is sort of that sense of community. And like from small venues especially, because you start seeing the same face all the time, and like the same photographers, the people that are just like really passionate about music. That's how people that are new to the city or whatever, that's how they meet their people that they become friends with for life and stuff. And like that's been how, when you asked Harry about how we heard about the gigs, it's from people we've met at gigs ourselves, like before we were doing before we had a sort of fan base and stuff like that. They're still our friends now that we're sort of still like connecting with and spending our time with. So that is, that's the sort of power of independent venues,
How do you try and like integrate yourself like into the community, like before Maruja, like as music fans, as friends? Like how do you sort of like discover new music or discover new venues? Would you go to gigs by yourself?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, obviously it's very freeing to go anywhere by yourself, because there's a sense of empowerment that comes with that, and not being like feeling the need to like have somebody by your side. That's an empowering thing by itself, but it's always funner to have your boys by your side at the same time. And this is a place these environments is where you can make new friends, and that's the beauty of it. Like if you wanted to go by yourself, then you shouldn't feel in any way put off by the fact that you're by yourself, because there's a whole community of people there just waiting to speak to you. All you got to do is have the courage. I like the phrase that nature loves courage. As soon as you take that step, do something that feels a little courageous in your own self, then 1,000 opportunities may open up to you of infinite variables, and all it takes is a little courage. So if you're thinking about, do I go to this gig, do I not? Do it. That's what I'm saying. Go to the gig, man.
100%. And just final question or final thing to talk about is it's like an ecosystem, right? People working at the bar here tonight, whether they're students or whether they're like older, people coming along to the shows, people playing the show, like everyone needs each other, right? Do you see that ecosystem more and more in Maruja, playing shows around the country and in different countries?
100%. Harry does something, like started implementing it this tour, where like at a point towards the end of the gig, we'll kind of take a moment to be like, I want to say a big thanks to the promoter, the bar staff, and like everyone in the venue. You know, we put a lot of work in like doing the band stuff, but we see the amount of people that it takes behind the scenes to make these sorts of things go ahead. And like it is always these super passionate people that like keep the scenes thriving, like up and down the country. And some of the smaller places we've been, there's always that guy or that woman that's really like the heartbeat of the city for music there. And that sort of energy is so infectious, and it spawns creativity and spawns support. And
totally.
So like the passion from people in those sorts of lines of work, like knows no bounds sometimes.
Final question. What's the favourite or your favourite local show that you've ever been to? Whether it was for a reason that the show just went off, or whether it was just like how you were feeling that day and you really needed it.
I'm going to pick one that we played, but not because we played it. We were supporting Enola Gay, Yes Basement on St. Patrick's Day. And that was like, I mean, they are some of the wildest, like heaviest boys going. That was insanity. And that just opened our eyes, like that sort of energy, seeing that was so inspiring. And that's happened so many times for us in like all these different venues in Manchester, you know. So yeah, that was probably the one.
Right, Opus Kink are coming on now. But what were you about to say, Harry? Sorry.
No, I was saying that I agree.
After those kinds of shows, do you go away and talk to each other? And you're like, how do we...
Oh, yeah. We go, what was that pedal? You know what I mean?
How do we bring that energy?
Oh, yeah, it's always super inspiring. Like, as soon as you go to a show of those caliber, then the inspiration speaks for itself, and then you see yourself behaving in certain ways or things coming out of you in different ways because of the inspiration from that evening. And that's what art's supposed to do. It's supposed to inspire us and to help us evolve and to take us to new unknown places. And that's what's important about art in general. So it's very important to exercise that by going down and seeing what's fresh before the rest of society deem it as fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, brilliant. Harry and Joe, thanks so much for chatting with me. Opus Kink are playing now. That sounds wicked.
Yeah, big up. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
101, 101, part-time jobs. 101, 101, 101, part-time jobs.
We are at the Night and Day Café in Manchester. Opus Kink have just... I'm trying to think of a phrase that's not laid this place to waste, because that sounds a bit silly, but...
That's fine.
I think you did lay it to waste. Have you seen the floor over there? It's not sticky. There's a little river running through it.
I did. I laid down on it at one point, and there was a sound like shloop when I put my head back up.
That's how you know it's a good show. What are the other hallmarks of a good show for Opus Kink?
Everything breaking and trying to...
Your gear, not the venues, right?
A bit of blood, yeah. What about venues? Sorry?
It's not the venues that are breaking, it's your own gear that's breaking.
It's our own gear, it's our own spirit,
My bass lead coming out every song is quite a good taster.
That's good. You know, a bit of sound coming out of the amps.
Fucking shambles, basically. Yeah.
Angus, the last time we spoke, it was pre-Beavertown Independent Venue Week tour.
Oh, yeah.
Sam, how's the show for you? I feel like I watched you in sort of amazement as you saw Angus crawl down onto the floor. You got the whole room quiet.
To be honest with you, I can't really remember any of it.
That's usually how it goes. The apparition of these faces in the crowd, petals on a wet black bough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like sweaty Sids from Toy Story, just dancing, and that's about it.
Our crowd has been described as looking like an army of Sid from Toy Story, which I'm very happy with.
Every show has probably got similarities, but I feel like every show has probably also got to have its own thing happening. People crawling around.
There's an annoying routine forming which we would need to break.
Okay.
Just like the beginning of 118, everyone knows what to do, and I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to fuck it up now. It's kind of. But also, I keep trying to get people down, and they've got bad knees. So I've got bad knees, So, but there was a couple of fellas in puffer jackets who didn't know what to expect because their mates dragged them down.
Yeah, you got some new fans.
So yeah, we got new fans, but they bought me half a Guinness and then demanded guest list to the next show. So.
At the start of the show, we spoke with your friend Sharon, who you dedicated a song to.
Oh, what a legend! Yeah, Sharon's a real like
She's almost fan number one.
she came out of the earth eons ago,
Yeah.
and she's been there at the front.
She's still warm.
She's like Methuselah. She's still warm.
Still warm.
Hopefully, yeah.
And we saw Harry and Joe from Maruja.
Yeah.
You know
Are they here?
They were here.
Nice. The boys were here. I saw 3 of them.
It's a funny thing where there are so many bands, so many people going to shows, but yet it can still feel like such a small world.
It does, yeah. Too small. We need to break out of this cycle.
It was nice. You could travel halfway across the country, or almost the full way across the country,
Yeah.
and it'd be like, oh, you know what you're doing, you know where you're at.
Yeah. I was thinking while we were driving over here today about what a trial it was, and then I thought people in Australia go to a party 9 hours away and they've got no problem. So we're fine. Or like in
Totally.
Texas or something like that.
So what are you doing tonight? And like, you know, it's a Tuesday night in Manchester for Opus Kink. How does it work? Are you going home to work tomorrow?
If we knew how it worked, we wouldn't be doing it, Giles. We are going forth. We're
Yeah.
going. This is a thing that he does wherever we are. He doesn't know where we're going, but he walks out of the building and he just goes left with confidence, you know.
If you do it with confidence, you're fine.
Yeah.
You strike me as the kind of band that wherever you go, you cause a lot of mischief, but a lot of love, a lot of positive energy coming from you.
Yeah.
I can almost I can imagine you knocking on the door, and like,
whose door?
My housemate has invited you. Is it that kind of situation you find yourself in?
I don't
those
know.
kinds
I
of-
mean, I'm usually kind of exhausted by now, but you always find a way, you know.
Hey, talking about we're at an independent venue. What is the feeling of playing a venue like this, where you know the people behind the bar kind of want to be here, even if they're working behind the bar,
Yeah.
or the people putting on the show want to put this show on. They want to put you, they want to see you. Everyone here wants to see you.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a big ecosystem. I'm putting
Yeah.
words in your mouth there, but
please do.
What does it feel like to be part of that?
It gives me a big brick in my stomach. It's got nowhere to go, and I love it. I hope that we can play venues like this forever.
Well, I think these places are the most important places in the world, or at least in the music scene. They're great.
We have had our noses to the grindstone making a record.
Has tonight felt like a release then, after focusing so hard on making a new record?
Always.
Played a couple of the new tunes, and it's a buzz to play new songs always. So we're excited to get it out at some point and gig after it.
Quality.
Magic.
I appreciate you taking the time to play, or to speak after you play,
Yeah.
and while you should be packing up, really. Hey, Sam and Angus, Opus Kink, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was our night in Manchester at the Night and Day Café on this independent venue week tour in collaboration with Beavertown. Opus Kink are an amazing live band. That was a great bill with Slow Country and the great Unwashed. That was a great night. What a great venue. We're off to Leeds tomorrow to go to the Broodnell Social Club to see TerraVision. Thank you for keeping up with this on this independent venue week. Thank you to Beavertown for sponsoring the show. Back on Friday when we report from our night at the Broodnell. See you then.
101 Part-Time Jobs is hosted by Giles Bidder and produced by me, Olivia Swash. This has been a Mighty Moon Media production.